Hello.
Hi, welcome to That's English.
Friends reunited.
Are you a student from St James's School, Manchester, 1980s? I'm organising a school reunion. Do you remember me? I'm Paul Scotty Scott, and I went to St James's School from 1981 to 1986. Were you in my class? Our teacher was Mrs. King. I talked a lot, and I didn't do any work, so I didn't pass my exams. I am looking for people from my class, and I really want to find Harry Kelly. We met on the first day of school, but he moved to London. Come to the reunion, Harry.
Were you in the county hospital, Cambridge, 18 years ago? 18 years ago, I had my first baby, a beautiful daughter, Octavia. She was born in the county hospital, Cambridge. I didn't sleep a lot, and for 10 days the nurses and doctors looked after Octavia. They were very kind, but I can't remember their names. Octavia had her 18th birthday last week, and I want to say thank you.
Did you work in the Railway Hotel, Oxford, between 1920 and 1970? My name is Pauline Thomas, and I'm writing a history of the Railway Hotel in Oxford. My father died in 1956, when I was very young. I first visited the hotel with my mother in 1957. She went there with my father in 1932. I went to Oxford last year to walk around the city. It was very romantic. I want to find stories about the hotel for my book. Thank you for your help.
1.
Hello. My name is Valentina. I remember when I left home. I lived in Russia, and I went to study in Paris. I met a very nice French student there, and I fell in love for the first time. I remember I felt happy every day. It was a wonderful time in my life.
2.
I'm Ian. I started my own business when I was 18. It was an online games site. I was very nervous. My office was my bedroom. I worked for 14 hours every day, and I often felt tired. I didn't make a lot of money, but it was a good experience.
3.
When I was a child, life was great. My parents were kind, and my brother was wonderful. My dad was in the army, so my family often moved to different cities, but I always felt excited to live in a new place, and I had lots of friends. Dad was away a lot, but he was always home at Christmas.
4.
I was the first person in my family to go to university. My brother opened the envelope. He said, "Well done, Bart, you passed your exams." I felt really surprised. So I went to university and I studied medicine. I loved it and I was very happy there.
Hello. I listened to 2 people on the radio yesterday. They talked about their life experience abroad. There was an English woman, Valentina. She lived in Russia when she left home. Then she studied in Paris and found love there for the first time. She felt very happy with this French boy, but I asked myself, is a different language a problem for a relationship? What do you think?
Hi, and welcome to Look Back at Your Life with me, Ed Hansen. My guest today is from the popular TV series Who Wants to Make a Million? ladies and gentlemen, businesswoman Maria Papas. Now, Maria, let's look back at your life. Maria, you're Greek and you were born in Athens.
That's right. I was born in Athens and I lived there for 10 years. When I was 3, I went to a British school in Athens, and then, when I was 11, I went to school in England.
Why did you go to school in England?
My father was Greek, but my mother was English. So I went to my mother's school in England. It was a great school, and my English teacher for the first 3 years was fantastic.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to Mrs. Hilda Fletcher.
Hello, Maria. Mrs. Fletcher, it's great to see you.
Hilda, tell us about the first time you met Maria.
I remember. It was her first day at school. She was a very small girl, and that day she was really nervous. Yes, I was, but we talked for about 30 minutes about Greece. And after that, I loved school. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Fletcher. And, Maria, you were a businesswoman at school, is that right?
Yes, my dad sent me chocolate from Greece, but I didn't eat it. I sold it to the other girls. I made a big profit.
Well, you made a good start at school, Maria, and... Hi, I'm Ed Hansen, and today I'm talking about Edurne Pasaban. She was born in Tolosa, in the Basque country, on the 1st of August 1973. Edurne climbs mountains, tall mountains. There are 14 very tall mountains in the world. They are more than 8,000 meters. This group of mountains has a special name, 8,000ers. When Edurne was 36, she became the 21st person and the first woman in history to climb all of the 14 8,000er mountains in the world. She started climbing mountains when she was very young. When she was at school, she went on holiday with her family to the Alps and climbed Mont Blanc. She was only 16. After that, she climbed more tall mountains in the Andes. In 2001, she climbed her first very tall mountain, her first 8,000er. This mountain was Mount Everest. Edurne is also an intelligent woman. She did a university degree in engineering. Her family have an engineering company in the Basque country. But she doesn't work in this company. Edurne lived for some years in Barcelona, but then she returned to the Basque country and opened a bed and breakfast and a restaurant. What next for Edurne?
Nigel and Sue. I remember that Sue and I argued a lot. Sometimes we argued for days. It was always about the same things: money, work, time. She felt depressed and was often angry, and I was bored. These are the words of Nigel Haven. Nigel worked in the City of London, in a large bank, for 15 years. He met his wife, Sue, there.
We were very unhappy. I wanted a big house, but Nigel thought our house was big. I wanted new furniture or new clothes. Nigel and I worked for about 14 hours a day. I never saw him.
Nigel explains what they decided to do. We went on holiday for a couple of days. We went for a long walk and we talked about what was important to us. I think we both felt a bit foolish at first, and really started to say how we felt. Sue takes up the story.
But when we got back to our hotel, we felt great. You know, excited and happy. After dinner, we sat down for 20 minutes and we wrote a list of the things we wanted from our lives.
Nigel laughs and continues. We realised that we had money, a big house, good jobs and all those things, but we didn't do the things we enjoyed doing. Sue's turn.
I went on a website and found a house on an island in the northwest of Scotland. We jumped into our car, drove for 5 hours, took one look at the house, and Nigel decided to buy it.
Nigel again. We gave up our busy London lives and this is where we live now. We walk every day. I grow vegetables and Sue cooks and bakes. We never did those things in London. Sue's writing a book and I run a website for people like us who want to change their lives.
I remember I went with my dad to watch an international football match between England and Brazil. England lost, so I felt quite annoyed. After the match, we met this guy. We talked for a while, and then I realised it was Pelé, the most famous footballer in the world. I felt nervous at first, but he was very polite and friendly, and after a few minutes, he made me feel really relaxed. He was a star, but also a person, like me and my dad.
I remember May the 2nd, 1997. I was on a school trip to France. We stopped on the motorway to eat lunch. One of the boys in my class, Andrew Bell, offered me a cigarette. I was only 12. I felt confused. I didn't want a cigarette, but I wanted to be cool, like Andrew. So, anyway, I took a cigarette and smoked it, and then I was sick on the bus. I felt really foolish.
I remember that I went to a school disco. There was a girl there. Her name was Sarah. One of her friends asked me if I liked her. I said I did, but I didn't really. We danced together and I felt really uncomfortable. I didn't like her and I didn't want to dance with her. And then she just kissed me. I was so surprised. I didn't know what to do. I just stood there like a tree. She was really angry. It wasn't a long relationship. Hello and welcome to The World of Work here on UK Radio South. On the line is Louise Sampson. She's got a story for us. Hello, Louise.
Hello. Yes, thank you, Martin. My story is about my first job interview.
I see.
Before the interview, I looked for information about the company.
Good.
Yes, but I wasn't very careful when I read the information about the company.
In what way?
I didn't look at the names of the people in the company, particularly the people who did the job interviews. One of them was called Alan White. Anyway, when I arrived, I was very confident, and then I walked into the room and saw him.
Him?
Alan White. Before I moved to Birmingham, I lived in Glasgow, and I had a boyfriend. His name was Alan White.
Ah, how did you feel?
Very uncomfortable. He recognised me, but I thought he was very unfriendly. I started to talk very fast. The other interviewers thought I didn't know about the job. I answered some questions correctly, but when Alan looked at me or asked a question, I felt nervous and said foolish things.
And after the interview?
Alan rang me and told me I didn't get the job. He said he was surprised when I walked into the room and he wanted me to get the job, but the other interviewers thought I was nervous, uncomfortable, and unfriendly. We talked, and he told me about a job in another company. I was very well prepared for that interview, and I got the job.
I met my wife Helen at a Christmas party. I offered to buy her a drink, and she accepted. I got her the drink, but then I fell over, and the drink went all over her. I thought she was quite annoyed, but actually she just laughed. I knew then that she was a very special girl, and I invited her to a restaurant. I bought some flowers and some chocolates, and we went out for dinner. When we arrived at the restaurant, I gave her the flowers, but the chocolates fell to the floor, under the table. When I looked for the chocolates, I hit my head on the table. Helen took me to hospital, and I met her dad for the first time. He's a hospital doctor. He checked my head and told Helen to take me home.